Hi everyone, welcome to my channel or welcome back to my channel. I'm Amma Mama and I have today a rather large book haul that I'm gonna do and it was slightly unexpected. Not unexpected, maybe a little more unplanned. I had gotten gifts at Christmas time so that I could go book shopping. Just hadn't had a chance to do it because I'd gotten bronchitis and a sinus infection and the family got COVID, all of the things. So I hadn't gone to spend any of the money that I got for books. And so I finally had a chance this week and I went to Barnes & Noble and I don't know if I can hold all of these without dropping anything, but I got a huge stack of books. And so I'm gonna go through what I have. A couple of them, I'm still gonna read them, but there were a couple in here that I specifically had gotten because of my son, and also I'm hoping I'll enjoy them. So the first book that I got is Leslie Bucking Jones, a memoir. And so I just like Leslie Jones. I've seen her in, several things, and she seemed, I've always found her kind of funny. So I don't know, I'm just curious to see what she has to say in her memoir. And so I've been trying to, off and on read some things written by people who I'm familiar with. I'm not as into like history things as what I in my mind would like to be. And, so I haven't ventured into reading, any kind of like historical books per se, or even like biographies about people from the past. So maybe at some point, but in the meantime, I had read the book that Henry Winkler wrote, and then I picked up this one. So I'm hoping I will enjoy this. Then the next two that I got, these are the ones that I was saying I had picked up partly because of my son and then also partly for me, but I picked up the first two volumes of One Piece. My son loves the cartoon, and then we had just watched the live action show on Netflix, which we thought they did a really good job based on the anime that we had seen, but I thought it would be fun to read these. They are in black and white, which is fine. I've never read any kind of, are these Magna, something like that? Magma. Anyways, I've never read books like this before, so we'll see what I think of them. My son has a couple other ones because he had started like One Punch Man and stuff like that. So we'll see. I'm hoping I enjoy these though. Then the next book that I picked up is The Girls I've Been by Tess Sharp. I had not heard of this before, and honestly, the only reason why I even looked at this or bought it is because I was getting a coffee when I was at the Starbucks in the Barnes & Noble. And if you purchased anything from the cafe, you got the book for $5. And so I thought, of course I need to do that. This book, it just says, as the daughter of a con artist who targets criminal men, Nora O'Malley grew up as her mother's protege. But when her mom fell for the mark, instead of conning him, Nora pulled the ultimate con escape. For 5 years, Nora's been playing it normal, but she needs to dust off the skills she ditched because she has 3 problems. 1, her ex walked in on her with her girlfriend. Even though they're all friends, Wes didn't know about her and Iris. 2, the morning after Wes finds the girls kissing, they all have to meet to deposit the money from a fundraiser at the bank. It's a nightmare that goes from awkward to deadly because, number 3, right after they enter the bank, 2 guys start robbing it. The bank robbers may be trouble, but Nora's something else entirely. They have no idea who they're really holding hostage. So it sounded like it might be interesting. So normally, even if a book is, $5, I'm not going to buy it if it's not something that I think I'll read. So I did pick that up. So hopefully it's good. Next, I picked up The Color Purple by Alice Walker. This had always been one of my favorite movies, the original one when I was growing up, one that me and my sister loved, and I've seen it so many times. I haven't watched the new one yet, but I do plan on watching it. I think I'm gonna like it just because since Oprah was in the original, and then I think she directed the new one that came out. But either way, I know she was involved in it, so I'm hoping that it's a good retelling of it. But again, kind of like along the lines of other things, it hadn't occurred to me to read the book, and they had this sitting on a table at Barnes & Noble, and when I saw it, I was like, oh, why have I never actually read the book that went with this movie that I have loved since I was a kid? So The Color Purple, I'm definitely looking forward to reading this, and I'll read the back, if you're not familiar with the story at all, but a powerful cultural touchstone of modern American literature, The Color Purple depicts the lives of African American women in the early 20th century rural Georgia. Separated as girls, sisters Celie and Nettie sustain their loyalty to and hope in each other across time, distance, and silence. Through a series of letters spanning nearly 30 years, first from Celie to God, then from the sisters to each other, the novel draws readers into a rich and memorable portrayal of Black women, their pain and struggle, companionship and growth, resilience and bravery. Deeply compassionate and beautifully imagined, The Color Purple breaks the silence around domestic and sexual abuse and carries readers on an epic and spirit-affirming journey towards transformation, redemption, and love. The original movie, again, I haven't seen the new one, but the original movie was so powerful with so many messages and scenes and everything that just evoked emotions and brought an awareness, even when I was a child, of things that maybe I wasn't as familiar with. And so I actually would have thought the book was a lot thicker than what it is based on what I, remember from the movie and everything. But I'm looking forward to reading this. Then the next book that I picked up is Chain Gang All-Stars. Now, I will say that originally the only reason why I had picked this book up and even considered buying it was because of the name of the author. And I know I'm going to butcher the last name, but it's by Nanakwame Adjei-Brenyah. And I'm sure the last name I'm probably a little off on, but my husband is a Nanakwame, and so is my son. And so when I saw the name, I was like, oh, I have to get this because it's also by a Ghanaian. And so I was really interested. So after I had picked it up thinking I'm going to get it just because of who wrote it, I picked it up just for the name. I did read the back, and I think it's going to be interesting. It says Loretta Thurwar and Hamara Hurricane Stacker are stars of Chain Gang All-Stars, the cornerstone of CAPE, C-A-P-E, and it's all capitalized, or the criminal action penal entertainment, a highly popular, highly controversial, profit-raising program in America's increasingly dominant private prison industry. It's the return of the gladiators, and prisoners are competing for the ultimate prize, their freedom. In CAPE, prisoners travel as links in chain gangs competing in death matches for packed arenas with righteous protesters at the gates. Thurwar and Stax, both teammates and lovers, are the fan favorites. And if all goes well, Thurwell will be free in just a few weeks, a fact that she carries as heavily as her lethal hammer. As she prepares for her final match, she makes the ultimate act of defiance against these so-called games, a protest with devastating consequences that land like a lightning bolt of truth and offer a clear-eyed reckoning with what freedom in this country really means. So this book was on the 10 best books of 2023, and it's a National Book Award finalist. Like I said, I hadn't heard of it before. It's going to touch on some heavier underlying issues. So even though I originally only picked it up because of the name of the author, I realized that I think this is going to actually be a really good book, and so I'm glad I grabbed this one also. Okay, then The next book I got is called The Second Ending by Michelle Hoffman. And for this book, it says that Prudence Childs was once the most famous kindergartner on the planet. After teaching herself to play the piano at age 3, she performed at the White House, appeared on talk shows, and inspired a generation to take up lessons. But as adolescence closed in, Prudence realized that she was being exploited and pushed into fame by her cruel grandmother, so she ran away. Broken alone, she took a job writing commercial jingles, which earned her a fortune but left her creatively adrift. Now 48, with her daughters away at school, Prudence agrees to compete on a widely popular Dueling Pianos TV show to reconnect with her inner artist. Unfortunately, the new spotlight captures the attention of her terrible ex-husband, Bobby, who uses the opportunity to blackmail her over a long-buried secret. If she doesn't win, she won't just be a musical failure, she'll also be bankrupt and exposed in front of millions. Her on-air rival, virtuoso Alexei Petrov, a young internet sensation with a massive audience and a dreamy Russian accent, has problems of his own. His demanding parents made him a technically flawless pianist, but left him without friends, hobbies, or any kind of life outside his music. As they prepare to face off on stage, the retired prodigy and the exhausted wunderkind realize that the competition is their chance to prove to their bad exes, tyrannical family members, and most importantly themselves, that it's never too late to write a new ending. So I just thought this sounded like a sweet book, touching on things that happen later in someone's life. It sounds like, I don't know if there's like a love story between the two. That's what it kind of sounds like. But it's not necessarily a romance per se, but I just thought it might be a good read. So hopefully I enjoy this one. Then the next one that I got is Happily Never After by Lynn Painter. This one I know is a romance. I don't think I haven't read anything by Lynn Painter before, but I know that I've heard good things about her writing. And another YouTuber that I watch a lot, Larry, I think she's friends with her. But anyways, speaks highly of her books as well. And so when I saw this, I thought, well, I'm gonna read it. Plus, I've been reading so much mystery this month because of March Mystery Madness that originally, when I went to the bookstore, I wanted something like lighthearted when I'm done with this month, just to kind of get out of the mystery mindset. But I ended up coming away with all sorts of stuff. But originally I was thinking I wanted to pick up some romance. So this says, when Sophie Steinbeck finds out just before her nuptials that her fiance has cheated yet again, she desperately wants to call it off. But because her future father-in-law is also her dad's cutthroat boss, she can't be the one to do it. Her savior comes in the form of a professional objector whose purpose is to show up at weddings and proclaim the words no couple usually wants to hear at the ceremony: I object. During anti-wedding festivities that night, Sophie learns more about Max the objector's job. It makes perfect sense to her. He saves people from wasting their lives and from hurting each other. He's a modern-day hero, and Sophie wants in. The two love cynics start working together, going from wedding to wedding, and Sophie's having more fun than she's had in ages. She looks forward to every nerve-wracking ceremony where they save the love-sick souls of the betrothed masses. As Sophie and Max spend more time together, however, they discover that their physical chemistry is off the charts, leading them to dabble in a little hookup session or two. But it's totally fine because they definitely do not have feelings for each other. Love doesn't exist after all. And then everything changes. A groom-to-be hires Sophie to object, but his fiancée is the woman who broke Max's heart. As Max wrestles with whether he can be a party to his ex getting hurt, Sophie grapples with the sudden realization that she may have fallen hard for her partner in crime. So this, I think, will just be a cute read. I don't know if it's cute that people are, they're breaking up someone's wedding, but I think it'll still be a cute read. Okay, then the next book that I got is, let's see, this is called Please See Us by Caitlin Mullen. And a lot of these are I do have a couple that I think I've seen people either read or do reviews on BookTube, but most of these are things that I just picked up. Some of them because they were on, again, the tables at the front of Barnes & Noble. Some of them I had just seen, scanning the shelves and stuff. But this one says, summer has come to Atlantic City, but the boardwalk is empty of tourists. The casino lights have dimmed, and 2 Jane Does are laid out in the marshland behind Sunset Motel. Only one person even knows they're there. Meanwhile, Clara, a young boardwalk psychic, struggles to attract clients for the tarot readings that pay her rent. When she begins to experience very real and disturbing visions, she suspects that they could be related to the recent cases of women gone missing in town. When Clara meets Lily, an ex-Soho art gallery girl who is working at a desolate casino spa, she thinks Lily may be able to help her. If they can put the pieces together in time, they may save another lost girl, so long as their efforts don't attract perilous attention first. So, in spite of the fact that I went there thinking I need something other than, mysteries and things that are, possibly scary, I still ended up with yet another mystery book because I'm finding that I like them more than I thought I would, depending on how they're written. So I'm looking forward to reading this. I think this one will be good as well. Obviously, I think these will be good. Otherwise, I wouldn't have bought any of them because that would be a complete waste of money, I guess. This one I have seen people talk about, but I didn't remember a whole lot of what people had said. But this is Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Maher. I'm not sure how the last name is pronounced, but I have seen, and I've seen kind of mixed reviews. I've seen some people who liked this immensely, and then I've seen other people who, it wasn't their cup of tea. So I'm definitely willing to read it and, reserve judgment. And after I read the back, I was like, okay, that kind of sounds interesting. So this one says, with ailing family to support, Evie Sage's employment status isn't just important, it's vital. So in a mishap with Renan Dawn's most famous villain results in a job offer, naturally she says yes. No job is perfect, of course, but even less so when you develop a teeny crush on your terrifying, temperamental, and undeniably hot boss. Don't find evil so attractive, Evie. But just when she's getting used to severed heads suspended from the ceiling and the odd squish of an errant eyeball under her heel, Evie suspects that this dungeon has a huge rat, and not just the literal kind. Because something rotten is growing in the kingdom of Renan Dawn, and someone wants to take the villain and his entire nefarious empire out. Now Evie must not only resist ruling over her boss, but also figure out exactly who is sabotaging his work and ensure he makes them pay. After all, a good job is hard to find. So it sounds like the way it's written, it'll also be kind of funny. And so I think, even though obviously there's some violent things in here, based on what's on the back, it sounds like it will hopefully anyways be written with some humor to it, so it won't be like a very tense read, if that makes sense. Now this next book, I've seen tons of people talking about it, and overall it seems like it's gotten really good reviews, and that's The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. And I will read it just in case for some reason you haven't seen anybody talk about this. This one says, sometimes the worst day of your life happens and you have to figure out how to live after it. For Clementine West, that means burying her head in her work as a book publicist, being practical and forgetting the silly things her beloved Aunt Amelia taught her, like living wide and chasing the moon. Clementine would rather stay grounded and keep her heart safe. For the last 6 months, she'd done just that. But when she moves into her late aunt's apartment and finds a strange man standing in the kitchen, a man with kind eyes, a southern drawl, and a taste for lemon pie, her well-laid plans began to fall apart. Because he's the type of man who, before it all, she would have fallen head over heels for, and she still might. Except he exists in the past, 7 years in the past to be exact, and she, quite literally, lives 7 years in his future. Her aunt always said the apartment was a pension time, a place where moments blended like watercolors. She also said that love is never a matter of time, but a matter of timing. And Clementine fears that she may be 7 years too late. So my understanding from what I've heard other people after they've read the book is that the apartment travels in time. Like it's not the person themselves, it's the actual apartment. But it just sounded really interesting. I'm, as you might be aware, I'm reading the Outlander series, and I really like that idea of like time travel and the romance aspect of it. And I can't think of is it Cabin at the Lake, I think is the movie where, who is it? Sandra Bullock, I think, but I don't remember who else is in it. But anyways, they write love letters, basically. I don't think they start out that way, but letters to each other, leaving them in the mailbox and stuff happens, but they end up, meeting and things like that later on in person. But so I'm kind of curious to see how this turns out. And again, I haven't really heard anything completely negative from anyone on this. I've always heard people speaking very highly of it, or that they were just like, it was fine. So I think I'll like the premise of it. So I'll see what I think when I get around to reading it. Then I have a few more. We're getting to the end. The next book that I got was Red, White, and Royal Blue. And this is by Cassie McQuiston. And this one says, when his mother became president of the United States, Alex Claremont Diaz was promptly cast as the American equivalent of a young royal. Handsome, charismatic, genius, his image is pure millennial marketing gold for the White House. There's only one problem. Alex has a beef with an actual prince, Henry, across the pond. And when the tabloids get a hold of a photo involving an Alex-Henry altercation, U.S./British relations take a turn for the worst. Heads of family and state and other handlers devise a plan for damage control, stage a truce between the two rivals. What at first begins as fake, Instagrammable friendship grows deeper and more dangerous than either Alex or Henry could have imagined. Soon Alex finds himself hurtling into a secret romance with a surprisingly unstuffy Henry that could derail the presidential campaign and upend two nations. It raises the question, can love save the world after all? Where do we find the courage and the power to be the people we're meant to be? And how can we learn to let our true colors shine through? So this just seems like, I thought it would just be fun. And the whole idea that, there's a prince and then this political candidate's son and all of that. I just think it might be a fun read. So we shall see. This next book is another one that I had never heard of. I have no idea what it was about. It's a fantasy. This is called Fathom Folk by Eliza Chan. But after I had picked it up because I was like, I thought the cover was just beautiful. And after I started reading the back, it sounded like this will be really good, I hope. And I think this might be part of a series. I'm not 100% sure. But if it is and I like this, then I'll continue reading it. But this one says, welcome to Tian Quai, a shining pearl of human civilization and safe haven for those fleeing civil unrest. Or at least that's how it first appears. But in the semi-flooded city, humans are, quite literally, on top, peering down from shining towers and aerial walkways on the Fathom Folk, sirens, sea witches, kelpies, and kappas, who live in the polluted waters below. For half-siren Mira, promotion to a captain of the border guard means an opportunity to help her downtrodden people. But as if earning the trust and respect of her human colleagues wasn't hard enough, everything Mira has worked towards is put in jeopardy when Nami, a know-it-all water dragon and Fathom Folk princess, is exiled to the city under Mira's watch. When extremists sabotage a city festival, violence erupts, as does the clampdown on Fathom Folk rights. Both Nami and Mira must decide if the cost of change is worth paying or if Tian Kwai should be left to drown. So, again, I don't know any more than what's on the back of that, but I thought it sounded like this might be, a powerful book. It might, hopefully it's got a good storyline, good writing. I've never read anything by this writer, but again, just the cover graphics are really pretty, and it's got some good, reviews on the back and everything. And so hopefully I enjoy this one as well. And then the next book I got is called Edenville, a novel. And this is by Sam Rebelline. And yes, I am guilty. I keep picking up books because of their covers and then reading about them. And granted, I do not just buy them because I like the cover. Again, even if I like the cover and if I don't think the book sounds interesting, I'm not going to buy it. But for this one, it's got this cool, I don't know if you can see the middle, but it's got this sunflower. And then in the middle, there's like a house or whatever that's kind of, I don't know, pixelated in some way. I don't know if that's the right word. It's not exactly pixelated, but it's definitely not a clear image. But sunflowers are my favorite flower, and so I liked the cover. And then plus on the front, R.L. Stine has a note on here that, a major new talent. So for this one, it says, after publishing his debut novel, The Shattered Man, to disappointing sales and reviews, Campbell P. Marion is struggling to find inspiration for a follow-up. When Edenville College invites him to join as a writer in residence, he's convinced that his bad luck has finally taken a turn. His girlfriend, Quinn, isn't so sure. She grew up near Edenville and has good reasons for not wanting to move back. Cam disregards her skepticism and accepts the job, with Quinn reluctantly following along. But there's something wrong in Edenville. Despite the charming old ladies milling about Main Drive and picturesque sunflowers dotting the sidewalk, poison lurks beneath the surface. As a series of strange and ominous events escalates among its residents, Cam and Quinn find themselves entangled in a dark and disturbing history. Told with equal parts horror and humor, Edenville explores the urban legends that fuel our nightmares and the ways in which ambition can overshadow our best instincts. Sam Rebelin is an exciting, sharp new voice, sure to terrify readers for years to come. So I'm hoping this is good. I'm hoping that it's not something. Sorry, the dogs. Let me pause. The dogs are going crazy. I'm not even sure why. I think they just like to do it when I'm filming. Anyways, I'm hoping that it's nothing like super gory, bloody. I don't know. Again, when I haven't read a horror author before, sometimes it's hit or miss for me if I'm going to like the work, because if it's too graphic and gory, depending on how it's written, it just gives me anxiety and I don't enjoy it. But if it's written well, then I like it, because again, I'm like a huge Stephen King fan. So we'll see. I'm excited to read this, but I'll see what I think. And then the last book I have, this one I didn't actually pick up when I went to Barnes and Noble this week. I ordered this one a little while ago because I had been watching a book review, and I'll link the channel for this one as well, because now that I'm trying to think of it off the top of my head, I think it's like Obscure is it obscure book reviews? I don't remember. Seems like when I'm not needing the information, it's right there. But then when I'm trying to recall it, it just doesn't want to come to my mind. But anyways, she had read this book, and all of a sudden I was like, wait, why don't I own that? And why have I never read it? So it's Stephen King's Creepshow. And again, I was like, why have I never read that? And why don't I own this already? Because I love Stephen King, and I used to, watch this when I was young. And it's just beautifully illustrated. And so I'm really looking forward to reading this one. I'm not sure when I will get to all of these, because again, I still have a lot of books on my shelves and everything, but I'll probably just add them to my TBR jar and work on pulling them so that I do continue to read the ones that I already own. I'm not going to buy any new books for a while. I need to definitely get a little more caught up. I have cleared one of my shelves off. I haven't done a count to see how many I have left that I still own, but I do still have quite a few left, and a lot of them, not a lot of them, but there's definitely some more short story compilations, and I've got like a book of Mark Twain. So I definitely have some other ones that I know are going to take me a little bit longer to read once I start them. But I'm not going to buy any other books for a while, because I have enough that I want to read. I really have made it a goal to read the rest of the ones that I already had on my shelf without going too crazy on buying books, just because it was bothering me that I had so many books that I hadn't read. And then after that, I'll have to see, I'm still in a rental, so I don't want to keep buying too many books knowing that I'm going to have to move them and store them in the meantime whenever we do finally get around to moving. But at the same time, I love my book collection, so we'll see. But maybe I'll utilize my library a little bit more at some point as well. I hope you all have a wonderful week, and I will talk to you all next time. Bye.